Here now is your most comprehensive show on matters public policy. My name is Chege. Always a pleasure and indeed a privilege to have you on board. And now, to help me dissect today's conversation touching on a number of economic fronts is none other than East Africa's most renowned public scholar, the first of his name, Herman Manyora. Great to see you, sir.
Hello, Richard.
Valentine came and it went. The men's conference was there at Carnival Grounds, led by Stephen Leto. Were you there?
Yes.
Let's start there.
That one I was there. And I gave a talk.
On what?
On how to be a man.
And the place of money in a marriage?
Yes.
You did that as well?
You saw it.
How about on polygamy? There was a bone of contention therein. Do you support it?
Man is polygamous by nature.
What do you mean?
It is in the making up of the species. Even in the animal kingdom, it's to perpetuate the species.
How about those who believe that it is one man, one wife to the end?
But one egg produced by a woman, millions of sperm. It's a no-brainer. That's how the human species, that's how any species perpetuates itself.
All right.
But of course, you must tamper this with the reality of the day.
I see.
You don't just go running after women.
And the economy is quite harsh.
Yeah, there are certain realities that should hold you.
So we should actually hold actually our lives.
Na wimbo inaitwa sijui tamaa ama ni tamaa Lesu Wanyika. Uwezo wako kijana uwe na mke mmoja. Hivi leo unatamani wake 7 kwa pamoja.
Na uwezo ni wa mmoja kwa sasa.
Hata hiyo mmoja is doubtable whether you can manage it.
All right.
Okay.
I see. Let's talk matters first, the place of merit in the job place and in the labor market per se. Very recently, we've seen President Ruto eject over 120 people that actually were appointees of the former President Uhuru Kenyatta. Top of those who've got parastatal positions as heads, board members, chairman of the boards, includes Nelson Harvey. Even in ministries like sports, you've seen people like Akode, Churchill, Aziad Naisen, and a number of them have been employed therein. Let's start. If you look at those lists, because many of them are your friends therein, would you say this was the best selection when it comes to people who can actually deliver from a general perspective?
First of all, the first qualification that you are a Kenyan. To that extent, they qualify.
I see.
Secondly, we must say we must congratulate them. It's not easy to get a state appointment. That the president has found favor with you. It's not a small matter. But that's where it stops. Well, then there are two issues. Number one is what the president is doing is unprecedented.
I see.
Where you terminate people's contracts prematurely just to put your people there. That is dangerous. We must not go in that direction. There are jobs we know which end with the president. When the president goes home, the president's men go with him, like Mudavadi said. But there are career public servants who make things work, whether they're in the parastatals or in the mainstream government civil service. This we must never touch unless it is absolutely necessary. So that's the first thing, and that is we are treading on dangerous grounds. I will call out the president and tell him no, that is wrong.
All right.
The second thing is, like any other appointment in this country since independence, but let's say in the later years of the Kenyatta rule, from around 1966 onwards up to now, just anybody can be given a job. Just anybody can be nominated to parliament. Just anybody, that's... So I don't even want to scrutinize who is there, who is not. It's just anybody.
But many believe that it's only Kibaki who never went for cronies and allies.
Never, even him. It wasn't. It has never quite worked. We've never gotten the best men or women for the jobs we have had in this country. That's the difference between us and successful people. That is what took Singapore from the pool of dirty third world countries, poor countries, to the table of first world countries. Meritocracy. For every job you have, the best man or woman the country can produce.
Not just about the 2/3 gender rule.
No, I don't support such stupid things. 2/3 gender rule. I've given the example of a surgeon. When you are wheeled into a theater, does it matter to you whether the surgeon is Luo or Kikuyu or Indian or European? You just want the best surgeon so that you come out from the theater. That's where third world countries are. Third world countries have a plane. It's like a plane you want to fly across the Atlantic to America. We cannot begin saying let a black man enter or let a woman enter to fly. No. We want somebody who will fly this plane and across the Atlantic and land it
Safely on the ground.
Yeah, JF Kennedy Airport. That's where we are. I don't support those useless things about you must get regional balance. No, but within each group, within every region, there are people. Within each gender, there are people. But if you make that one the preoccupation, then you lose focus. If your preoccupation is with the best person, you'll find a good Turkana lawyer if you are looking for a lawyer. If you are looking for a lawyer, Mungatana is among the Pokomo. You might think they have nobody. He's a tough young man.
Brilliant lawyer.
Yeah, Ekuru Ekot, you might think that Turkana don't have people. Professor Lonyangapo, one of the top mathematicians in this country, is a Pokot. I'm trying to look at communities you might think are what? Primitive or backwards, or they have been marginalized.
Adan Kainan and the
Kainan is there, Dr. Kainan. Bilokelo is a brilliant mind. So you can't tell me if you must get a Somali, you must get some of these people who have been given some of these things. No. This Abdulkadir was there, a very sharp guy. The other guy, this Somani doing the petition. Yeah, look, petition. So if you are looking for a Somali, they are there. There isn't a community in this country that will not give you the best. If you are looking for a woman, there are women they may not be Kimbelembele looking for these jobs, but they are there. Look for them and give them the positions.
I see. Sticking to matters to do with merit, we've seen the African Union recently appoint the former President Uhuru Kenyatta to actually lead the election observation team in Nigeria. There have been calls within the political circles and even those outside it that Uhuru is meddling with the Kenyan politics, yet he is retired. And by that, they feel that he is not he is not qualified to actually hold the ESC position on regional talks about peace. Do you actually support also that argument that it doesn't stop on parastatal appointments, etc., even the activities of former heads of state, that Uhuru should now be set aside?
I don't know. I've never understood this thing of retiring. Like Uhuru said, he could be retired, but is he tired?
But not tired.
He can offer services. It is a common practice across the world. Retired presidents offer services beyond parochial boundaries of nation. Yeah. And if AU finds it fit to seek the services of Uhuru Kenyatta, so who is there who can say no? Uhuru may be a Kenyan, but he's not held hostage by the President of the Republic of Kenya.
And should there be actually a role?
If the UN gave me a job, I don't have to seek favor from the President of Kenya to go. Everything is my right, including the passport, which I use to travel, is my right as a citizen of this country.
So they actually so much he can even do for the Kenyan government still.
Yes.
And he actually befits it.
Yes.
I see. Let's talk matters the harsh economy that is actually faced with runaway inflation by the day. And by far, this has affected the livelihoods of many people. Recent statistics actually show over 1,000, to be precise, 1,062 companies that had been registered in 2022 have been shut down in actually under a year, all thanks to auctioneers. People are no longer asking if I'll be auctioned, but just how, when is that going to happen? So this trend is actually going on by the day at very alarming levels. From where you sit as your footnotes are on a general standpoint, what do you think has precipitated this situation whereby people, their properties are getting auctioned by the day? What kind of policies can we put in touch just to secure people's accumulated wealth over time?
You see, things are not good. The economy has taken a beating. Cost of living is in the roof, has hit the roof. Things are just bad. And the factors are both local and
foreign.
International. So there are global things like the international crude oil, the dollar, the appreciation of the US dollar upon which we base our international trade and the loans and everything else. The Russia-Ukraine war, and a host of other factors that many of us may not even know, including transportations.
However, many have actually squarely put the blame at the doorstep of the government for the punitive taxation regime. Do you think that's actually happening? Do you feel the pinch?
No, I was saying there are international factors. But of course, when you come home, there are many other factors over which we have control as a people. But either we are too lazy or too scared to venture into the unknown, or acting under the spell of the IMF and World Bank. So if you talk about taxation, we must surely know that excess taxation, excess levies on electricity, if you look at your electricity bill, look at the things there, or if you look at the token, how many things are the government levying? Fuel levies, forex check,
petroleum development,
all those kind of things on petrol and on diesel, on electricity and so on and so forth. There is so much we can do, yet either we are ignorant of economic forces, or we are too scared to try something new, or we allow the IMF to dictate to us. So yes, there are many things we can do to make life bearable. To make, at a time like this, why would even government be looking for licenses from businessmen? Why?
You have an ambitious target.
Because you must balance, but this is not even the time to balance. This is the time to sweep off anything that stands in the way of business. Let's not wait until it is too late. Once somebody has folded his business and gone to another country to do business, or he has gone home in the village in Bombay, you may not bring him back to Nairobi to start the little thing he was doing. This is the time for government to wake up and support businesses, not harass them. Because now they want more taxes. They do not know that this abrasive approach to raising taxes is going to scare businesses away. It's going to make people close businesses. I have seen, I was somewhere yesterday, people were talking to me. If it's not NHIF forcing small businessmen, it's NSSF, then the KRA people are coming, they are saying we shall take you back, I don't know how many years.
NEMA.
This is the time that government must say, any of the levies we impose on businesses should come to an end for 6 months as we look at which ones are necessary. But in the meantime, none. You will only deal with the regulatory bodies. If you are in the food industry, we shall not ask you for a license for a restaurant, but you will have to reckon with the public health people, who should also be told not to use that to harass businessmen. So we shall figure out how do we do this thing so that the public health officials do not use that position
as a conduit to manipulate.
So in total and in short, I'm saying what government ought to do today, not tomorrow, because it will be too late, is to ensure they stop all manner of harassment, because this is just harassment, whether it's from KRA, NSSF, NHIF, NEMA, Nairobi City, whatever. If you for example, you brand your car Nairobi Review, and you think it's a joke, you might be asked to pay 50,000 or more. But then who want you if you get an assignment in Kericho and live here? The moment you come, you cross through Kiambu, some part of Kiambu here, as you are going to Nakuru. I think you pass Kiambu somewhere before you go to Nyandaro or whatever. Yeah? Then you go to Nakuru. Then Kericho. My friend. Nakuru. You will pay for that branding. These are some things we can do quickly to ease the burden of. Yeah.
However, on your end, don't you think the President, William Ruto, is just trying to follow on the footsteps of leaders of Tier 1 countries who actually gave in to the good advisor of the IMF and multinational lenders? It's, I mean, in terms of their fiscal policy and just monetary assistance of whatever kind. That's why they're where they are. Why do you take blame with IMF advising Ruto and actually putting on some sanctions that will guide our economy?
Personally, I might be limited in my understanding. But personally, I've never seen any country that has done well because IMF has advised them. I can offer more sound advice to any country in the world that IMF cannot even rival. I can sit IMF down and tell him, you see, IMF and World Bank and many other of these forces are trying to panel beat us and beat us into a queue.
These are top economists.
To join the queue so that there's a certain world order. There's a world order they are creating, and they have been at it for a while. All of us must join the queue. A world in which the American big boys,
their dreams are achieved.
They are controlling the world and making all the dollars. the big dollars. IMF cannot advise anybody into prosperity. I've never seen. Our experience with IMF in this country.
They're helping us.
Why are they saying they're helping you to balance of payment when all you need is to stop stealing?
Helping us fix the budget deficit and borrowing.
Which budget deficit?
We are
There is
too much.
never a budget deficit in our country. No country can genuinely have a budget deficit. It is part of the international capitalism. No, how would you have budget deficit? What is this that is a matter of life and death?
KQ has to be bailed out.
Which KQ is a private business. They can close. We won't be the only country without an airline.
The pride of Africa, though.
No, we don't need it if it can't work. Why do we add money there before we jail people who have eaten the money we put there? So you see, there is no deficit. I do not believe in deficits. It's part of the world capitalist order. So that you are perpetually in debt, perpetually borrowing. There is nothing. Look at the Kenyan budget. I have said this. Take the Kenyan budget. Then take it to Nairobi Primary School. Or even Olympic Primary School.
In Kibera.
Class 7 and 8. Tell them, this afternoon, this is the Kenyan budget. It is 3.3 trillion. But we expect to raise a maximum of 2 trillion. So we have a deficit of 1 trillion. Or 1.3. What do? Give them primary school children. They will tell you, lakini hii inafanya nini kwa budget?
Laptops.
Toa hii.
School laptops.
Hii inafanya nini kwa budget? Toa hii. Budget will end up being 1.8. You have surplus. So there's no deficit. It's all it's all corruption.
Devin D is watching with this Council of Economic Advisor to the President.
Which council? Those are just jokers.
Top economists.
Because instead of listening to some busybody called IMF, to try and organize for you things so that you can make move here, there, from there, then this, you organize this so that you can sort out 400 billion. Why don't you just stop stealing?
You don't need
only two things. Stop stealing the national budget. Stop wastage. I'll tell you, if you go to Mombasa right now and removed all government people from there, the hotels will close. If you go to Naivasha, if KQ was not carrying government officers, they will grind. So just stop that wastage. Stop stealing. You have more money than you need. And then start raising taxes and make sure you get money from people who must pay. Because those who should pay don't pay. It is those who shouldn't pay who are being forced to pay. So it is, class 5 will tell you what to do to run this country. You don't need David Indi. You need class 5, 6 children.
For Council of Economists.
They will tell you this is a joke. We are just joking people.
Very well.
There's so much money that's being wasted, so much money that's being stolen, and there's so much money we can make. This notion we get from World Bank and IMF that government cannot make money is a lie. China is a giant because when we thought they were sleeping under the blanket of communism, they were busy making money and saving. That's why they're running the world now. They were busy making what? Money and saving. And all these companies you see coming here to build your roads, most of them are government, if not all. They're government owned.
What do you mean?
Yes. The banks, Exim banks and the rest, all these things are government connected. So somebody lying to you here that government should not do business. Therefore, sell off your parastatals, which the government wants to do now. Because they can't make, they are loss making. Jail the people who have run down those parastatals. Look for Kenyans who can run those. Make money. So for every 1 shilling you raise through taxes, government should make 3 other shillings
from it.
From business.
Very well.
You get it?
I get.
That you can't get from IMF. You can't. They'll tell you sack people, raise taxes, remove subsidies. These are just jokers.
There you have it, from the man that never disappoints when it comes to advisory on matters economics and politics. Time now for Fan of the Week. It is this young, brilliant mind in Australia, Elvis Peters Rono.
Elvis Peters Rono, thank you. And how is Australia? And I'm surprised all roads from Kenya lead to Australia. We must find out what is happening in Australia. Everybody's going to Australia and Canada, but especially Australia. We need to find out.
We need to find out.
But more importantly, let's make our country good enough for us to want just to be here, for others to want to come here. Right.
Until next time on Business Glide, my name is Chad Mwenja. Always a pleasure to have you on board. Continue watching our subsequent editions of other shows, that is Political Conversation with the Jadiel Kabiro. On our Let's Talk Love channel, there is Warid Kimathi with his show, and also still on this particular channel, Evans Okinyi. Until next time, God bless.